Have a good day to everyone. The Adventist University of the Philippines, students from the College of Education, presents speech disorder.
A speech disorder is condition in which a person has problems creating or forming the speech sounds needed to communicate with others. This can make the child's speech difficult to understand. Doctors such as Johann Gessner in Germany and Alexander Crichton in Scotland began in the 1700s to study and document the different types of language disorder. By the way, speech disorder and language disorder are different. Speech disorder, when a person's speech do not flow smoothly or the repetition of words or part of the word. While language disorder was when a person difficulty when sharing their thoughts, ideas, and feelings. Speech pathology began to get recognition in the 1920s when the American Academy of Speech Correction was formed in 1926. Speech pathology or pathologists are professional doctors for those who have speech disorder. Next, what's the classification of speech disorder? Number 1, articulation disorder. Have problems when making sounds or forming particular speech sounds properly. In Tagalog, we call it bulol. Next was phonological disorder. Phonological disorder are the inability to correctly form the sounds of words. Articulation and phonological are different. Articulation was more on consonant substitution, while phonological was consonant deletion. Disfluency. Disfluency are interruption in the regular flow of speech such as using a and pausing silently, repeating words, or interrupting oneself to correct something said previously. And lastly, voice disorder. These problems occur when your vocal cords don't vibrate normally. Your voice is the sound that air makes when it pours out of your lungs and passes over your vocal cords. Voice disorder have problems in their pitch, volume, or their tone.
These are the statistics on speech disorders. 1 billion people, or 15% of the world's population, experience some form of disability. 1/5 of the estimated global total, or between 110 million and 190 million people, experience significant disabilities. And according to the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorder, approximately 18.5 million individuals have a speech, voice, or language disorder. So what are the teaching and learning strategies on speech disorders and how we can help them? Number 1, encourage and accept all forms of communications. Learners with speech and language difficulties are often lacking in confidence and shy about speaking in public. So avoid asking them to repeat mispronounced words or finish their sentences for them. It is better to model the correct form in your response. Allow alternative ways of communicating like gestures, writing, or drawing. Number 2, be conscious of your own communication style. Make sure your language is clear, indirect, and face the class so that learners can see your expressions and read your lips if necessary. Number 3, teach active listening skills. Explain to the whole class that it is important to be attentive and look at someone when they are talking to you and not to interrupt. Number 4, give time to think and respond to the questions. All learners can benefit from this using the think, pair, and share model in the class provides the time needed to process information and organize thoughts before having to answer. Number 5, using sound discrimination exercises. We know that phonemes are the building block for language. You can help learners who have difficulty recognizing and decoding phonemes through multisensory activities like clapping and stamping out syllables in new vocabulary or color coding the different groups of phonics. Number 6. Help with sequencing in word order. If the learner has difficulty explaining things or telling story in the right order, just ask them to give bullet points of what they want to say and put them in the correct sequence on a timeline. Number 7. Build vocabulary. Use pictures, objects, and photos to help understand and remember new vocabulary. Number 8. Help build self-esteem. Make sure to notice and praise good interaction in speech. Describe what they do well and identify and work with their other strengths such as creativity and physical talent. And the last one, number 9, help learners to make their needs known. Always check the learners has understood the task and clarify any misunderstandings. Encourage them to let you know if they have not understood by using a prearranged signal.
To continue, we are going to talk about the educational program of speech disorder, starting from the ST assessment and early intervention. This is to administer individual assessment to determine a child's speech and language competencies. It is used by using both standardized and non-standardized tools, and they address speech and language delays by educating parents and teachers to optimize learning opportunities and facilitate language development. Next is what we call speech therapy screening and provision of home programs. Due to the limited number of certified speech therapists that can accommodate the growing number of patients, they created an alternative option to deliver intervention services as soon as possible. They will be prescribed with a home program to facilitate transdisciplinary intervention by the parent or caregiver in order to address speech and language issues. And next is the speech therapy software. It is a speech and language program that provide an extra processing and listening practice, the equivalent of millions of spoken words in just a few weeks, as well as vocabulary and other language instruction to help your child catch up. One of the examples of speech therapy software is the Fast Forward. Fast Forward is an online speech therapy software that targets the processing-based deficits that cause speech delays. A study has been conducted that approximately 8% of children between the ages of 3 and 17 will exhibit a speech problem. Primary care providers are likely to encounter the following types of speech disorder: the speech sound disorder, fluency disorder, and voice disorder. They experience stuttering or voice disorder, often viewed more negatively both by teachers and by their peers, and these affect their social, academic, and in their future occupational impacts. In some cases, this requires invasive interventions such as surgery, but the vast majority of speech problems can be addressed through therapy provided by a well-trained speech-language pathologist. Outcomes are better when assessment and intervention occur promptly. This is according to the Prelock and Hodgkins during the 2018 study. Finally, as I end the report, I would like to leave a memory verse from Exodus 4 verse 10 to 12. It is about Moses when God administered him to speak to God's people. And the lesson of this is that we are blessed that most of us are able to have a perfectly normal way of communicating and articulating speeches. We should be grateful by using it for the Lord's work and by helping our neighbors who are in need and are unable to do so.
So that's all. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. Have a good day and God bless.